in terms of finance, what they normally would refer to as centralized finance, I go to the bank, and the bank would finance my project. You give me money to fund my projects. Decentralized basically means I can go to a protocol instead and do the same thing.
What?
A protocol basically means like a set of rules and paradigms and programs that you can use and interact with. Not a person. It's a set of rules.
Yeah, I have a quick question for Sheikh Muawiyah. You mentioned very briefly, that they both have their cons, right? Centralized and decentralized. So do you want to quickly go over the pros and cons of each?
So, I mean, when it comes to centralized, decentralized finance or finance as a whole, generally speaking, in the crypto space or non-crypto space, that basically means how can you, in a nutshell, not always, there are some avenues that is within the banner of DeFi, they call it, but it's not what this is. Essentially, how do you gain income? So one way is how can you gain a loan on your crypto? You can put up some collateral and you get some extra money to spend. So there's one way of actually how you can get a loan and therefore you pay interest. And the other element is whereby you can have capital. You don't want a loan, but you want to increase the income on your capital. So I've got Bitcoin sitting there doing nothing. Well, it's not doing nothing. It's just doing what Bitcoin does, secures your wealth. But I want to now increase that Bitcoin. So that therefore, rather than just being 1, now I have 1.1 and 1.2 and so on and so forth. So DeFi, some parts of DeFi basically would mean that you provide collateral. You provide money to the protocol, to the system. That system now would take your capital and lend it out to others. And then when they want to pay the money back, you get a portion or cut of the money earned. Now, how does it function? How do you lend out money on a decentralized manner? What they normally do is through over-collateralization. In a bank, they know where you live and you have legal documentation that you sign to make sure that if you don't pay it back, you can get it money back from some other way. On the internet, you don't have such a thing. I mean, you can get a loan and you can be anonymous. So how do they make sure you're going to pay your money back? So again, this is to do with over collateralization. So what that means is I have 1 Bitcoin, but I don't want to sell my Bitcoin. I want to keep my Bitcoin. So I will deposit the Bitcoin into a protocol and they will give me fiat. They will give me dollars. But the amount of dollars that they will give me is actually less than the value of the Bitcoin. So Bitcoin right now is at $31,000 USD. So if I was to deposit 1 Bitcoin into the exchange, I could probably take out $10,000 as a collateral on as a withdrawal of my Bitcoin. So I still have 1 Bitcoin, but it's locked in their contract. They're going to give me $10,000. Now I have to pay back $10,000 to get back my $32,000. So the question I guess some may be asking is, why would you even do that? Why don't you just sell $10,000 worth of Bitcoin and rather than go through this whole issue of loans and whatnot? Taxes, like I said to you, the system is built around their corruption. So if you were to sell your Bitcoin, that essentially is a taxable event. That means you have to pay taxes on any gains you've made, whatever you want to call that, gains you made on your Bitcoin, and therefore it would cost you more. So you could, in theory, lock up 10 Bitcoin. That's $300,000. And you can take out $200,000, spend it on whatever you want to spend it on, pay it back over time, and still have your Bitcoin and pay 0 tax. That's basically the reason why you would go on this whole, as they say in Saudi, scratching your left ear with your right hand from behind your back. Is this whole rigmarole.
So is that halal, Sheikh?
No. So any form of, it's basically it's riba. Because the thing is, to even if you were to get that loan, that £10,000, when you pay it back, you pay back more. You pay back more than £10,000 because that's where the riba comes into it. Mm-hmm. Now, it would be halal if someone lent you £10,000 dollars, and you used your one Bitcoin as it was called in Arabic, al-rahan, was a guarantee. And then when you pay back the £10,000, you pay it back as it was £10,000, not extra. Then that's perfectly halal. There's nothing wrong with that. The only issue is that they've added onto it. They've added onto it. So due to that reason, it is haram. Now, if you live in El Salvador, then you can just spend your Bitcoin, because El Salvador Bitcoin is now money over there. It's now legal tender. So therefore, there's no taxable event on spending your Bitcoin in El Salvador. So maybe one day, inshallah, maybe even soon, you never know, if Bitcoin gets accepted as currency and not an asset, then there's no need for this whole collateralization with your Bitcoin. You can just spend it as money, which may, and we hope so, inshallah, may be the ironic byproduct of what El Salvador did. Because if once El Salvador finally finalized, I mean, they have finalized the law, it is now legal law, but they're going through the process of integrating into their economy or not. But once they finish that process, then other countries may be forced to recognize Bitcoin as currency, because they can't just reject their currency. Say it's not currency. I mean, you have the whole forex industry is about trading foreign exchanges, foreign currencies. So if El Salvador has Bitcoin as legally their currency, then Bitcoin would essentially be, legally speaking, a foreign currency. But I think governments want to resist that, because obviously they want their pound of flesh. They want to tax you at the end of the day. That's what they want to do. So we'll see how it plays out. We got this year. It's very new news. And there are other countries that are announcing they're going to do the same as El Salvador. So if at least 2, 3, or 4 countries do exactly the same, then I think it'd be very difficult for other countries to say, no, it's not currency, it's an asset, when, multiple countries have taken it as their currency. It'd be really weird. But it is what it is.
Okay. I have a very important question here, with just because you got into that collateral and all that. But is it like halal haram for one to use basically what's called staking features available in cryptocurrencies? Like, for example, like I think there's, some people don't know that there's other crypto other than Bitcoin. But for example, like Cardano, you can have like holders stake their tokens, which makes you like a node to help transactions on the network. So basically you get rewarded in tokens on a percentage basis. Is that accepted? Is that halal? I think it's called staking.
Yeah. So basically, for those who probably are new to all of this, Bitcoin is a decentralized monetary network. It's a network whereby people can transact value, they can exchange value in a manner that doesn't require any authority to manage it or to make it happen. The only thing that regulates and makes sure that things function is mathematics. The whole system of Bitcoin works on mathematical principles as is programmed inside the source code of Bitcoin. Now, people think of Bitcoin as being nothing, as in, what is it? Just numbers, as they say, just numbers. But what they don't realize is how these numbers came to existence. And it's a bit weird. I mean, what do you mean how these numbers come to existence? I mean, even numbers itself is very abstract. I mean, has anyone here held one?
Or
No.
$1?
No, just one.
No, just the one.
Just the number one. No.
Oh, nah. I don't think anyone has.
Yeah, because it's abstract. It's an idea. It's not a thing. There is one of things, but the actual number one is abstract. It's an idea. Even in mathematics, there's actually a debate if, going back as far as Aristotle and Plato and all that, whether numbers actually exist. And it's you think these questions, who even asked that kind of thing? But yeah, they said, do numbers even exist? But yeah, anyway, so if Bitcoin is not physical, and now I say 1, 2, 3, 4, a million, 2 million Bitcoin, what are they? Well, Bitcoin, I would say easily, is the first time in the history of mankind I think it's safe to say the first time in the history of mankind we've actually had scarcity in something that is not tangible, is not physical. Let me explain to you. So here is AirPods, Apple AirPods, and I have this. You don't have it. Now, if I was to give it to you, I no longer have it. So scarcity exists in the physics. I mean, it's this occupies space, and if I move in one space to another space, it's now somewhere else. So that's kind of the reason why we've had money in the first place, is to materialize the idea of value. Because value, again, is like numbers. You can't grab a value. We can perceive value, but you can't grab it. But if I manifest that value in a thing, now you can grab it. So the way Bitcoin works is that in order to get these numbers, you actually have to do physical work. You have to do something. I mean, you can even ride a bike. You can even get a bike and ride a bike, have the wheels turn a turbine and generate electricity and use that electricity to mine Bitcoin. And then if you was to mine Bitcoin, essentially that physical exercise you was doing to mine Bitcoin has now become a Bitcoin. Now, I've just said that Bitcoin comes from physical activity. How do you prove that? Prove that, brother. Prove it. Because you can't get Bitcoin without it. As you've intrinsically woven the physical actions of the dunya into this number. Yeah. And that was reality why gold and silver and other forms of money in the past existed, because they were physical manifestations of work. You had to go to a mountain, you had to mine the gold or the silver, smelt it, separate it, clean it, fashion it. All that takes work, and that is the value contained within that gold. That's how you value it. So you've manifested work into a physical thing of gold. Likewise, you can manifest work into Bitcoin. But it's the first time you've ever done that on something that you can't grab, on knowledge. Bitcoin is knowledge. It's actually knowledge. It's information, but it's scarce information. All information before Bitcoin wasn't scarce. You can copy and paste it a million times. There's no scarcity in it. But Bitcoin was the first time to do that. But then, so that's the origin of Bitcoin, work. So next time someone says to you, "Oh, Bitcoin is nothing," say, "No. It isn't nothing. It's something."